Things Fall Apart is a book by Chinua Achebe. Now, right off the bat, I'd like to get out of the way. If I pronounce any of these names wrong at all, and you know I'm pronouncing them wrong, then I'm sorry. I don't know how some of the names in this book are pronounced or how the author's name is pronounced. I'm fairly certain the author's name is pronounced Chinua Achebe, but as for the characters in the book, if I get any of them wrong, forgive me. Okay, I mean, I don't know how to pronounce African names, and that's what this book is. It is a book about about an African tribe. The book was written by Mr. Akibe because he felt at the time of its writing that there wasn't any sort of book out that accurately portrayed the native tribes of Africa. There were only books from other people's perspectives, and those people weren't in the tribes, so he felt they were all skewed perspectives, usually negative ones, if not always negative ones. So Things Fall Apart is a story about Okonkwo, a man in an African tribe in Nigeria. I just have to say, right off the bat, I'm not going to recommend this book to anyone because I feel it's a very difficult thing to like. I think this is a book that if you like books, you'll like it, but people who don't care that much for books might not like it. I'm not sure how to explain it. I find this book tends to usually be about 50-50. Half the people either love it and the other half hate it, and that's usually how it goes. Some people find it very boring, which I did actually. 9/10 of the book, I did not like it. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything, but it was just like, it's just nothing great. But the ending is really what sold me on this book. The ending to this book is just beautiful, in my opinion. And that's the strongest part of the book itself. Overall, it's sort of like what Slaughterhouse-Five was to me, if you've read the book Slaughterhouse-Five. All through the book, I'm thinking, why am I reading this? What's the point? Then when you finish, you can look back on what you've read, and you realize that everything just sort of fits together. But you can't tell that while you're reading it. You have to look back once it's done, and look at what you've been given, and just look at what the book is. And I really think that's what Things Fall Apart is like. At least to me it was. Because I did not like the book until the end. Ending happened, I looked back over what the whole book had been, and I thought it was a beautiful book. It was just, in my opinion, one of the best books I have ever read, really. One of the better ones that's not fantasy, because it's usually what I usually read. So it's nice to see me moving away from something that's not fantasy, something that is fantasy. A lot of people will find this book boring, so like I said, not going to recommend it. It can be sort of a tough read. At least in my opinion, because you have to grasp a few concepts to understand the book, especially the ending. So it's definitely a little more advanced, which might be why some people don't like it. Not that I mean to offend your intelligence if you didn't like it. It's just I feel a lot of people misunderstand the book, and that's where their disliking of it comes from. But if you really try and get this book, in my opinion, is a beautiful book. Like normal, I would usually show you what the book looks like, or have it with me as I spoke, but I just moved into my dorm here in college, so I didn't have any room for my vast collection of books. So if you really want to know what it looks like, you can Google it. You know the name, Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart. The normal copy I've seen is yellow and red, kind of a checkered pattern. That's the edition I have. I would really... I know I said I wouldn't recommend it earlier, but you know what, I think I kind of would, considering it's a pretty quick read. I read it in 2 weeks. I honestly, if I had have wanted to, I could have finished it in a day. That's how short and easy this book was. But I was doing it for a class, so I had to stretch the reading out over 2 weeks as we read it. But it's really a short book. If you think you can stomach that read and just see if you like it, I think it'd be worth it. It's a great story. It speaks great volumes about some of the situations that used to take place in Africa, some that still do. And just to give you a brief, what's the word I'm looking for, explanation of the summary. Essentially, it's about a man named Okonkwo who lives in a Nigerian tribe, and it essentially just details his life. It's very difficult, really, to explain beyond that, and I know that doesn't sound interesting, but you almost just have to trust me when I say the book itself speaks volumes and will be very interesting when you look back on it as a whole. At least I hope it will. It did to me, so I hope anyone out there that reads it will feel the same. So, if you're looking for a quick read, I would definitely suggest the book. It is a wonderful, wonderful story. You should definitely pick it up if you don't mind the read. Overall, I'd probably give it an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to have to say maybe an 8, just because I honestly don't feel the book itself was that great. It was more of the idea that the book showed was great. So, good for one reason, bad for the other, whatever. So 8 out of 10, pick it up. It's a great book. Thank you for watching.